presented to us. Under the open meetings law, the audio or videotaping of a public school board meeting is legal as long as it remains unobtrusive and does not disrupt or interfere with the deliberative process or the right of persons in attendance to observe or listen to the proceedings. Although the district is not recording, the public should be advised that the meeting is subject to being taped, and thus that any comments, questions, or statements made during the public portions of this meeting may appear in print or online, including YouTube or other websites. Okay, I'd like to, next agenda item is minutes.
I present the minutes from the reorganization meeting of July 8th actually with an amendment. On page 25, under Board of Education policies, it was written that Mr. Gehringswald had offered the second reading of the policies, when in fact it was Dr. Harrigan. So I just wanted to make that correction for the second reading and also for the first readings of the two policies for the purpose of renumbering.
Okay, and that's on page 26, right?
And that's on page 26.
Okay, perfect. So do we have a motion to accept the amended minutes?
Motion.
Any comments, questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? Next item, correspondence?
None.
Great. Board committees. We had tabled the committees at the last meeting. We've had a number of email discussions concerning committees. We will have that resolved by the next board meeting. At this point in time, there's still no resolution, as I understand it. So that will be tabled.
Eric, I'm sorry, you asked for the board members to, there were email discussions, you asked for the board members to let you know what committees they were interested in.
Correct, correct. It was an email to suggest what committees they'd be interested in participating. Okay. Next is pending or unfinished business.
Yes, I'd like to ask if there is a motion for approval for the attendance of 3 board members to the New York State School Board's convention in October.
Do we have a motion for the members to attend the school board convention in October?
Motion?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Who's doing? You agree?
Betty, Diane, and myself are the 3.
Okay.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Next item. Any other pending or unfinished business?
And Mrs. Fallon is also included.
Okay.
Right.
Great.
I'm sorry, did you need the voting delegate?
Oh, and the voting, oh, right, and the voting delegate and the alternate.
Okay. So, who would like to be the voting delegate? Okay, Mr. Sabato would like to be the voting delegate. The alternate? So we need a motion to delegate that Betty D. Sabato will be the voting delegate and that Diana Ackenborough will be the alternate.
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gehringswald. This evening I would like to present the assistant superintendents and our deputy superintendent to the Board of Education and the community as they provide for you an overview of the highlights, as they have up here on the screen, that took place during the summer throughout the last 7 weeks. So we are going to go through each of their areas in which they supervise and work directly with the staff of the district to provide the Board of Education and the community with everything that has occurred over the summer. Dr. Harrigan?
Thank you, Mrs. Fallon. A lot of what we do in the summer in my department is training of teachers, training of administrators. So the first thing that starts off right after school ends, that following Monday, the first and second year teachers return for 3 days of training. You can imagine it's a little bit quick turnaround from the last day of school on Friday to starting on Monday. So we tried a different format a few years ago, and we broke the 3 days, and we tried to mix it up, and we made 6 smaller sessions to kind of keep folks moving around, keep it more interactive. The other piece that we've seen is the phenomenon where many of our teachers who've been excess but have now come back in new tenure areas are back for their second round of probationary teacher workshops. So we find ourselves kind of recreating. So this year we had Joe Tolles, who's a guidance counselor at High School West, do a presentation on SNAP judgments and understanding of people from different backgrounds to try to improve the cultural competence of our teachers. Chris Fagarazzo, our Director of Science, did a session on best practices for classroom instruction. Darlene Lilla, Dr. Lilla, our new Director of Fine Arts, she talked about integrating art and music into your curriculum. So there weren't any art or music teachers there, but she talked about ways they could infuse it and interact with different modalities of students to use the arts and music in their curriculum. Lisa Gish, a school psychologist from Vanderbilt, did a session on stress reduction for students and their teachers. We've been working through a lot of what we were hearing these days about overtaxed students. Jolyn Sapia did a specific piece on online educational resources, giving all of those teachers new avenues to explore learning opportunities for their kids. And the last presentation of the week was by Love Foy. She did a workshop called Disciplinary Reading, which is not punishing kids through reading, but rather reading within the different disciplines. You hear a lot about that change now of every teacher being a teacher of reading. So how to bring reading to your subject area, regardless of whether you are a reading teacher. There were different curriculum areas, special education. So we had a good variety of folks. One of the things we've been doing the past 2 years is trying to use teachers as well, not just administrators or outside presenters. I will tell you that the fact that most of the teachers there actually were seasoned teachers who were going through this for the second time, they were exceptional. They were participatory, they were professional, a lot of interactive work. Darlene had them painting, so the only thing they wouldn't do was allow me to hang up their artwork. When I mentioned it, it all disappeared very quickly. So very successful 3 days back in June. Followed up by, of course, we have standard professional development. Teachers are required to take professional development outside their day. We ran 49 courses this summer with over 300 teachers participating in different professional development courses throughout the district, throughout all levels. So a lot of teachers, Ms. Fallon had mentioned the other day, how come this parking lot is always full? A lot of that is teachers here doing training, doing learning, led by other teachers or led by our administrators. So there's approximately 300 teachers participated in training this summer. Next event we have later this week is our training for our administrators. It's a one-day event. It will be held here. We have a keynote speaker, Dr. Bill Daggett, who is the founder and chairman of the International Center for Leadership in Education. So he's worked at the state level, school district level, and is going to be talking about in best practice, embracing the current system of education. Spend about 3.5 hours with us for the morning, and we're looking at giving that a big kickstart for our administration. We'll have a quick break, and then in the afternoon, Mrs. Fallon, myself, all the assistant superintendents will have topics that we'll work through with the administrators. Followed up in September, as you know, as part of our APPR plan, we do the training of our evaluators. So we'll do the evaluator training in September, and then in October we'll make the appointment of those evaluators of teachers and principals, just like we've done in the past few years since APPR came to visit. Coming up, new teacher orientation. We actually have some new teachers this year, about 15 new teachers to the district, brand new, who will have a 2-day 2 days of training, starting off with a session by Mrs. Fallon, who introduces them to the district and sets those expectations, which are very important on their first official day in Half Hollow Hills, followed by Kirk Strong, who's principal at West Hollow, doing a presentation on using homework effectively. The next session for the whole group is an overview of special education by Mrs. Strand, Mrs. Friedland, Mr. Helms, and Mrs. Melfi and Mrs. Keller. Of course, all of our teachers, regardless of if they're special education teachers or not, interact with students with disabilities, so that's always a part of our new teacher training. Followed by smaller department meetings where each of the teachers will break out and work with their director or coordinator. The second day, we will have a presentation by myself on the performance appraisal system, the portfolio process, the new teacher mentor process, all those required elements to get them started on their career in Half Hollow Hills. And then children's staff here will do the technology workshop, assigning them their passwords and emails and showing them what's available to them so that they hit the ground running with technology for all of our students. So those are next week on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then the following week, we are looking at, again this year, a 2-day superintendent's conference format, similar to last year. So the first day, the focus, of course, is that morning gathering where we come together as a school district, the opening remarks from the superintendent, board president, and Teachers Association and Administrators Association. If you recall, last year we've gone through recognizing our 25-year teachers at that event, which I think was really successful and positive for last year. We'll be doing that again this year. We are training about 200 paraprofessionals in crisis prevention intervention for working with students with disabilities who may have behavioral difficulties. We have some paraprofessionals who are brand new, so they'll do a 2-day training, both Tuesday and Wednesday. And we're going to recertify our paraprofessionals who had prior training just to make sure that all of these interactions are happening with the utmost of safety. And then the teachers will go to the building for faculty meetings on the Tuesday, followed up by reception sponsored by our PTA, welcoming all of our staff back. The next day on Wednesday is more of a curriculum focus from the buildings. There are department meetings, so each department will have their meeting. We are delighted to have Mr. Feldman, who's going to spend a few hours working with all of our special education teachers, related service providers, school psychologists, on changes and developing appropriate IEPs for our students with disabilities. And then there'll be similar trainings throughout the other departments. Mr. Vitaliata has got a 3-hour session scheduled for all of our elementary teachers to talk about updates to our curriculum, similar to the way we did last year. And then we are providing some time for school building meetings as well as some teacher prep time to set up. We probably have more teachers teaching in a place different than they did the year before than we've had in many years, not just at the elementary level, but we've had some movement across the board, so we want to make sure teachers have some time on Wednesday afternoons, on Tuesday and Wednesday, so that Thursday when the kids come, everything is just as it should be. And from there, we'll continue professional development throughout the year, but those are the highlights of the summer.
Great.
District-wide administration. So.
Thank you, Dr. Harrigan. Mrs. Vitaliata.
Thank you, Mrs. Fallon. We've been very busy in the summer this year with elementary items. Summer school took place and ran from July 7th to July 31st. As you know, that's our 16-day, 4-week program. It runs Monday through Thursday. It ran at Pominock this year in kindergarten through 2nd grade and at Candlewood for 3rd grade through 7th grade. This year, the 4-week program, we invited around 1,600 students from kindergarten through 7th grade. That includes 6th grade regular ed and 6th and 7th grade self-contained students from West Hollow and Candlewood. We registered for that program 394 students, K through 7, and that included the same population. And of those students that registered, 357 students actually attended the sessions. Attendance at Pominock for the kindergarten through 2nd grade program, the average daily attendance percentage was 71% over the 16 days, and the attendance at Candlewood in the 3 through 8 program, average daily attendance percentage there was 75% over the 16 days. The program went very seamlessly. We had great participation of the students that were there, and the faculty was energized and ready to accept the kids. We believe that the students had a great program for them in place while they were there. Both Laura Haltigan, who was the principal of K-2 at Commonwealth, and Mary Lippert, who was the principal for the Candlewood program, did a fantastic job. So we're really thankful for that. And as you know, we moved our summer school this year to Pominock, and that movement really, it was not, it didn't miss a beat. So I'm really very, very proud of what took place there. We also had a week-long curriculum writing for kindergarten through 5th grade for English language arts updates throughout the school year. We received feedback through the form of our Common Core ambassadors and our teachers from around the district, and we took that feedback and compiled it and then used that feedback to update the curriculum in each one of the grade levels this summer. We also spent time with the math curriculum and updating that. That's taking place, actually started today, and the teachers are working together on looking at minor revisions to the math curriculum, but the updates are, again, based upon feedback and the actual use of the program and pacing of instruction where things should be placed, and adding some enhancements as well. So we have that going on right now. Another major project that we were focused on this summer was the elementary report card, and that has been revised, and we're in the process of developing a custom report card through Infinite Campus. That report card, a big shift for us is moving from a quarterly report card to trimesters. So there will be 3 marking periods next year at the elementary level, and each one of the marking periods is about 60 days. It provides more time for instruction to get good feedback on student progress, to report to families, aligned with the report card. A shift for us also is that conference time. In November, conferences will not result in a report card at that time, so teachers will be sitting down with parents and talking with them about the curriculum and about their students' progress. The first marking period ends on November 26th, and followed by a report card that will go home to students with a parent portal. It's going to be electronic, of course, then opens up for students shortly after that. I believe it's December 7th. The next marking period ends on March 13th, and the parent portal opens up with a full report card on March 20th, and finally the last day of school, June 26th, is the end of the trimester. So we will be developing a full parent guide to the report card that will be posted online for families, and we'll be having more detailed presentations about the report card at that time. So the report card and technology upgrades, we're very excited, as we spoke about in the budget process, the need for more money in technology. We have added additional laptop carts to each one of the grade levels, K through 5 at the elementary level, and in addition, each school has an additional cart, a general purpose cart of 26 updated laptops. We're very excited about that, and the students already are using technology integrated into the curriculum on a daily basis, so this will help more students have their hands on laptops. Another thing we're introducing this year in terms of technology is keyboarding at the kindergarten level. We are finding that our students are coming in with very adept abilities to manipulate touchpads and keyboards, but we want them to get training early on. So Jolyn Sappy, our Director of Technology, and I have discussed this, and we are bringing the computer powers in for some training on a product that we already have in place, learning.com, that will take our children beginning in kindergarten through keyboarding skills. So we're going to start that in kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade in September, right away.
I remember when that was a high school class, and there was a room full of typewriters.
I was at an airport and I saw a kid in a stroller, and they had an attachment to the stroller that came out, and it was for an iPad, an iPad mini. And this little toddler that was still in diapers was playing with this, and I'm looking at that, I'm like, this is ridiculous.
It's amazing. what
I
they
can
can
barely
do.
figure out how to turn these on.
Wow.
Very, very exciting. And
It's amazing.
And a nice addition too for us, certainly at the elementary and the district, is the wireless project is fantastic that took place throughout last year. And our students will be entering our elementary schools with wireless access. So you'll have your laptops, you'll open them up, and you don't have to worry about the airport and such. So it's, we're very excited to get the school year beginning. So.
That keyboarding was previously taught, was it second
Third
grade?
grade.
It was third
It
grade.
was the second half of third grade, it was called Alpha Smart. And then in the first half of fourth grade, we moved the keyboards to the fourth grade, but it's become obsolete at this point, so we recognize that.
We have programs for parents?
We'll have to look into that.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll have to look into that.
I'm still using a BlackBerry.
Yeah. But we're real excited to begin school year and to continue over.
Thank you, Mrs. Vitale.
Sure.
So can you give us a flavor, so curriculum writing takes place over the summer,
Mhm.
and can you just give us a flavor for how they do great work? Let's say they take a week over the summer introducing new aspects to our band curriculum, let's say.
Mhm.
How do we actually go about introducing that to the rank and file teachers so they can actually properly use that information and teach it to children? How does that get done?
I'm really glad you asked, James, because one of the things that I'm very proud of our faculty is just that. When we do the revision work or the update work that was taking place at the elementary level on Superintendent's Conference Day, as Dr. Harrigan mentioned, I have the faculty in total for 3 hours. And tomorrow, I have all of our principals and assistant principals coming in at the same time, and I'm walking them through everything that was done over the summertime. Some of them also participated in the writing that has taken place, and directors and coordinators have participated in everything that has taken place this summer. So I have an in-common presentation, but this is separated by each grade level for what specific teachers need to learn about. So for example, all of kindergarten's teachers will be with 2 administrators in a classroom at West Hollow for that 3-hour period of time. They will receive fully the information of any updates that have been provided, and we've laid out everything for them very concretely. In addition to that, we have they can access anything that they need on something we call our district shared folder, which is an internal way that we can share electronically and update things in real time. So that's all been done already. Tomorrow, we'll be in-servicing all of the administrators collectively. And then on Superintendent's Conference Day, we will have that opportunity to meet with staff and roll that out. And then principals will supervise from that point forward. We also have scheduled in September, early in the fall, the coordinators and directors will be going to each one of the elementary schools and following up at the building level in a smaller group setting with the content area specialists. And then throughout the school year, we meet regularly with a cohort of teachers that represent their schools to just keep things fresh and keep things ongoing. Any problems, questions, or concerns, we can address them at that time and resolve them right away. So it's exciting.
I think something you did interesting too is the principals and assistant principals became experts on, you divided up the grade levels so that, it was not just Mary and then Rochelle, and then you had the team of principals and assistant principals specializing particular focus in grade levels, so it really followed it through the year. It was interesting, the feedback from the principals in terms of the real depth that they were really working with the classroom teachers.
And the continuity of that work that takes place. It's not that the school year starts and then there's no work on curriculum throughout the year. Mary meets with the teachers and those specific individuals that are tied to a grade level all throughout the year after school, at the end of the workday.
And that's where we derive our feedback. So it's a consensus type of an environment where the teachers are giving us the feedback on what has taken place, and then providing us with by grade level, by school recommendations for alterations. Last year was by mid-year, we together developed the second half of the school year's curriculum, and this year at the end of the school year, we got feedback from every teacher on every grade level in every school, then a consensus on what needed to be changed. And as we did the curriculum writing, we had that paperwork ready for those selected teachers that were working on the curriculum to review and to look at with the coordinators and directors and make decisions on what's best for our curriculum program. So everyone has ownership over it at some point during the process.
That's a great process. It really is, the way that it spirals through is really, really impressive.
And it's iterative, so it's not, we did it this year, we're done, here it is, you're gone till June. We meet, we have scheduled meetings throughout the school year where we discuss, now where are we marking period 1? What's the feedback? What do we need to take a look at? What do we need to tweak or adjust? And it gives us an opportunity to make those adjustments as we go.
That's great.
I hear adjusting during the school year.
Yes, yes. You have really dedicated teachers who are devoted to it and know it well, and as Patrick had shared, the principals are now meeting with teachers not only in their school, but on a grade level around the district, so they get to know teachers from other buildings. The teachers have commented that they really enjoy the time to spend together across district. So what I'm doing in my class, oh, you're doing it that way, we do it this way at this school, and oh, here's an idea, and we share that. So they've been very open and wanting more of that type of opportunity.
Well, you've heard of mother's work is never done, and
Yeah.
curriculum work is never done.
That's very
so
true.
That's great.
That's very true.
That's very nice.
Mr. O'Farrell?
Okay, thank you. Sort of along those same lines of curriculum work never being done, the bulk of what we've done so far this summer is really curriculum writing for some new courses and then some changes to courses that have already existed. AP World History is a course that we were offered for the first time next year as a follow-up to Honors Global 1, where students would take in their freshman year. We have numerous sections of that being offered of all the AP World teachers, or teachers that are slated to teach AP World, working together on curriculum writing that started really 2 years ago, continued last year during the school year. It's ongoing this summer, and similar to what Mary was referencing, it's going to be ongoing throughout the school year as well. Really what we're trying to do this summer is to get the first half of the year set, have a calendar for the full year, get the first half of the year set in terms of assessments and pacing, and then sometime in November, December, work on the rest of the year.
Excuse me, John, with that, does not the syllabus have to be accepted by
Yeah,
a
syllabus
college, body?
different from what we would call curriculum. So syllabus meaning this is these are the topics that we're covering, this is the time that we're spending. That's really what was done 2 years ago. So we've had that syllabus submitted to.
Oh, so it's already been approved?
Yeah, yeah. So really what we're doing with curriculum writing is sort of filling in the blanks. So we have a template that everybody agreed on as a workable solution, and then we try to fill in the blanks as much as possible. Similar to AP Physics 1 and 2, we've offered in the past AP Physics B. College Board changed that. They essentially split it up into 2 courses, AP Physics 1 and AP Physics 2. We recombined them into one course, AP Physics 1 and 2, so that's one course. What we did to accommodate some of the additional information was we made it into a double period everyday course. So it's a little bit more challenging to schedule, but our physics teachers are excited for it. We've been talking about this for a few years now. They're all involved in the curriculum writing process. They've been involved in the process of even deciding if this is what we were going to do for, like I said, the past 2 years. So that is, and that's actually done in terms of the syllabus has been submitted as well. The curriculum really, for the first almost 3/4 of the year, is pretty much done right now. We're just tweaking some things, and then we're going to pick it up again in September once we see how the first couple of weeks go with the double period. The double period every day is a format that we're not used to, and teachers need to spend a little bit of time with students to see how those periods are going and if they're getting through more information or less than what they would anticipate. So, the college courses, we have 3 new college courses that we're introducing for next year. They're all in the business department. Students can elect to receive college credit through SUNY Farmingdale. They can elect not to, but the courses will be run at a college level. Those syllabuses, similar to the College Board and AP, have already been approved by Farmingdale. What we're doing now is really, again, trying to fill in the blanks and put some meat onto the bones of a syllabus and really put specific assignments in there, look at the assessments and make sure that they're similar between both buildings. Whenever you have 2 high schools, it's always a challenge to make sure that they're both at the same level, same rigor, with 2 different teachers. So we have those teachers working together as well. And again, those classes we have strong enrollment in all 3 of those, so we have a really great feel for what kids are interested in. Each of those courses is operating as a second-year course. So we have marketing, accounting, and business law. We already have offered Business Law 1, Accounting 1, and Marketing 1. These are sort of the second year follow-up courses to that. And then for ELA and Geometry, those are both really our Common Core updates. Geometry, this past year in 13-14, it was Algebra converted to Common Core Algebra. Next year, it's going to be Geometry. So we've seen this coming for a while. We've been doing curriculum changes and revisions for that for quite some time. That's something that we need to spend a lot of time this summer on, making sure that we're ready for September. We will be. And then, again, it'll be ongoing throughout the year based on really teacher and student feedback. Another piece, independent of curriculum, the Code of Conduct is something that you can see online. Over the past several years, each summer we've made minor tweaks to it. And really what we found in the course of this year is that it just wasn't doing everything that we needed it to do as a document. It wasn't as all-encompassing as we needed it to be. So we really looked at every line, every word on every line for the document and made some pretty large revisions. So again, that's available online right now. We're going to be sending that out via email, hopefully by the end of the week this week, that parents will have to essentially sign off that they read it. It's a digital signature that we're asking for in conjunction with an internet use agreement that we made some revisions to as well.
And a big piece of that is really educating parents and students that there needs to be ownership of their use of technology, and that negative use of technology, when it comes into the schools, if it overflows, that there are consequences that are associated with that, and it's not necessarily the school's responsibility in determining what those consequences are. The Code of Conduct will communicate that there are consequences, but the consequences could be far-reaching in terms of not just being a suspension from school if the behavior with the use of technology is designated as a crime.
Do both the parent and the student sign off on that, or is it just the students?
So we have, the email is going to parents. We don't have student emails in Independent Campus, right. So we're sending the emails to parents, the people that are listed in Independent Campus. So that's who will be responding, saying that they've read it, they've reviewed it with their children, and then we're going to be going through everything with them in school, just like we've always done.
So what if they refuse to sign?
If parents refuse to sign, then what we'll be doing is restricting internet use, because we're linking it with the internet use agreement. If someone doesn't sign, if a parent doesn't sign, that student, that child won't be permitted to use or to have internet access during the school day for as long as they don't sign it. If it's something where, specifically for that code of conduct, if they're not signing it, I would imagine what we would do is print a copy and actually mail it to the return receipt and make sure that you know what they got it.
This is the child utilizing school computers to get on the internet, not them with their device.
Correct.
Using Wi-Fi.
Correct. Okay. We also needed to really update our academic intervention plan to plan for academic intervention services, or AIS. Mr. Taddy and I will work together on that. Really doesn't, there's no major changes to it. What we were trying to do is to make the document a little bit more reflective of the work that's actually taking place in the buildings. So as far as the student impact, you really won't see much change this year. It was just a matter of making sure that everything that was in writing was actually taking place, and things that were in writing that were no longer relevant for whatever reason, courses weren't being offered, Common Core came in, that we updated that.
So John, this is really just making sure that we catch potential problems early and help